Do you feel like you're carrying an invisible weight in your chest, something that keeps you from breathing fully and experiencing the joy you know you deserve? Maybe it's resentment from something that happened years ago. Maybe it's the fear of letting go of control. Or maybe it's simply the difficulty of forgiving yourself for past mistakes. You're not alone in this feeling, and I deeply understand this pain because it's universal. But here's the liberating truth. You don't have to keep carrying this weight. In this video, you're going to discover practical and profound tools to release everything that ties you to the past and prevents you from living fully in the present. We'll explore together Louise Hay's transformative teachings about the power of letting go, forgiving, and creating a new story for your life. You'll learn why holding on to resentment is literally poisoning your body, how forgiveness is the key to your own freedom, and how to identify and transform the limiting beliefs that sabotage your dreams. And there's a special moment in this video where you'll be able to consolidate this learning and join our community of love and transformation. By the end, you'll have not just a new understanding, but also a powerful practical exercise that will help you anchor this transformation in your daily life. Imagine waking up tomorrow feeling lighter, freer, more connected to your own essence and to the infinite possibilities that exist for you. This isn't just possible, it's your birthright. Stay with me for the next few minutes, and let's walk together on this journey of release and renewal. You deserve to live a life of joy, love, and abundance, and it all begins with the conscious decision to let go of what no longer serves you. Let's begin now. The invisible poison. Have you ever stopped to feel the weight you carry in your chest when you hold a grudge against someone? This weight isn't just emotional, it manifests physically in your body, creating tension, pain, and even illness. According to Louise Hay, when we hold on to resentment, we're literally poisoning our own system. Every thought of anger or sadness towards someone who hurt us is like taking small doses of poison every day. And the person who suffers most from this isn't the one who hurt us, but ourselves. This resentment settles into our muscles, our breathing, our vital energy. Think of Sarah, a 42-year-old woman who held resentment toward her sister for over a decade. She felt constant back pain and lived with a tightness in her chest. When she finally decided to work on forgiveness, not because her sister deserved it, but because she herself deserved peace, something extraordinary happened. The pain began to diminish, her breathing became lighter, and she felt as if an invisible burden had been lifted from her shoulders. Louise Hay always reminded us that forgiving doesn't mean agreeing with what happened or allowing it to happen again. Forgiving is an act of self-love. It's choosing your own freedom over the prison of resentment. When you hold on to anger, you're telling the universe that that person or situation still has power over you. You're allowing the past to control your present and your future. Louise Hay said that resentment is like acid that corrodes the container that holds it. You might think you're punishing the other person by not forgiving, but you're actually punishing yourself. Every cell in your body responds to your thoughts and emotions. When you feed thoughts of hurt, your body responds with stress, inflammation, and imbalance. I release all resentment and choose inner peace. Allow yourself to say this with conviction, feeling each word resonate in your heart. Resentment also affects your present relationships. When you carry grudges from the past, you tend to project those wounds onto people who have nothing to do with what happened. You may become defensive, distrustful, or even aggressive without realizing it. It's as if you're wearing glasses fogged by old pain and can't clearly see the blessings and love that surround you now. Louise Hay taught us that every moment is a new opportunity to choose thoughts that nourish us. You don't have to keep reliving the pain. You have the power to choose thoughts that bring healing, love, and renewal to your life. Imagine what it would be like to wake up every day without that weight in your heart. Imagine feeling lightness, breathing deeply, and knowing that you're free. This freedom is available to you now, not in the distant future, but in this exact moment. It all begins with the conscious decision to let go, to release, to choose yourself over the story you've been telling about your pain. I deserve to live in peace and harmony, and you truly deserve it. Louise Hay always said that we're worthy of love and healing simply by existing. We don't need to earn this right, it's already ours. But there's something even deeper about this release process that needs to be understood. Asterisk, asterisk, the key to freedom, asterisk, asterisk, forgiveness, is probably one of the most powerful tools you have to completely transform your life. Louise Hay dedicated much of her work to teaching about forgiveness because she knew, from her own experience, that it's impossible to truly heal without forgiving. When you forgive, you're not doing a favor for the person who hurt you. You're opening the doors of your own emotional prison. Forgiveness is a gift you give yourself. It's the key that frees you from the invisible chains that bind you to the past. And here's the liberating truth. You don't need to wait for the other person to change, apologize, or acknowledge their mistake for you to forgive and move forward. We often confuse forgiveness with reconciliation, but they're completely different things. Forgiving means releasing the emotional burden you carry, letting go of the need for revenge or justice, and choosing inner peace above all else. You can forgive someone and still establish healthy boundaries. You can forgive and choose not to have contact with that person anymore. Forgiveness doesn't erase what happened, but it changes how you relate to that memory. According to Louise Hay, when we forgive, we're telling our body and mind that we're ready to heal, that we're ready to receive good things, and that we deserve to live in harmony. I forgive myself and others, and I free myself to live fully. Think of Michael, a man who spent years blaming his father for the difficult childhood he had. He carried so much anger that it affected his marriage, his work, and even his health. When he began working on forgiveness through Louise Hay's practices, he realized something transformative. His father had also been hurt, also carried his own pain and limitations. This didn't justify his father's actions, but it allowed Michael to see the situation with more compassion. He began repeating daily, "I release my father to his own journey, and I free myself for mine." Over time, the anger dissolved and Michael felt a lightness he hadn't experienced in decades. He didn't need to confront his father or wait for an apology. He simply chose his own freedom. Louise Hay also taught us that the most important forgiveness is forgiving ourselves. How many times do you punish yourself for past mistakes? How many times do you harshly criticize yourself for decisions you made with the knowledge and resources you had at that moment? This constant self-criticism is a form of violence against yourself. You deserve the same compassion and kindness you would offer a small child who's learning. Every mistake was a learning opportunity. Every stumble brought you here, wiser and stronger. I forgive myself completely and love myself exactly as I am. Repeat this whenever the critical inner voice appears, and watch how your relationship with yourself begins to transform. The forgiveness process doesn't happen overnight, and that's okay. Louise Hay was always gentle and realistic about this. You can start simply with the intention to forgive, even if you don't fully feel it yet. You can say, "I'm willing to forgive," or "I'm in the process of forgiving." This openness already initiates the healing. You can write letters you'll never send. You can do release rituals. You can work with daily affirmations. The important thing is to take that first step toward your freedom. And when you begin to forgive, something magical happens. you open space for wonderful things to enter your life. The energy that was trapped in anger and resentment is now available to create love, prosper, and live with joy. But before we move forward, I want to invite you to something special. If this content is resonating with you, if you're feeling that these words touch your heart in some special way, I would love for you to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to receive more content like this. Leave a like if you're committed to your own healing and freedom, and tell me in the comments which insight from this topic about forgiveness touched you most deeply. Your participation strengthens our community of love and transformation. Let's continue together on this journey. Hidden programs **. Your beliefs about yourself and about the world shape every aspect of your life. Louise Hay always said that our thoughts create our reality, and limiting beliefs are like old programs running in the background, sabotaging your dreams and happiness without you consciously realizing it. These beliefs were formed in childhood, absorbed from your parents, teachers, society, and painful experiences. Maybe you repeatedly heard that you weren't good enough, that money is hard to get, that true love doesn't exist, or that you don't deserve to be happy. These messages became absolute truths in your mind. But here's the good news. They're just thoughts, and thoughts can be changed. According to Louise Hay, most of our problems come from a core belief: I'm not good enough. This belief manifests in countless ways in your life. You might self-sabotage when you're close to success. You might choose relationships that confirm your lack of worth. You might work excessively trying to prove your value, or you might simply give up before even trying. This belief is like a filter through which you interpret everything that happens. If someone compliments you, you distrust or minimize it. If something goes wrong, you use it as proof that you're really not capable. I am enough exactly as I am, and I deserve all the good things in life. Allow yourself to feel the truth of these words, even if your mind tries to resist. Think of Jennifer, a talented designer who always dreamed of opening her own business. She had the skills, the creativity, and even some interested clients, but she never took the next step. When she began exploring her deeper beliefs, she discovered she carried the conviction that people like me don't succeed and I always fail at what I try. These beliefs came from childhood experiences where her efforts were constantly criticized. With Louise Hay's work, Jennifer began questioning these beliefs. Is this really true? Or is it just a story I believe? She began looking for evidence to the contrary, remembering moments when she succeeded, and replaced the old beliefs with new ones. I have everything I need to create the business of my dreams. Louise Hay taught us a powerful exercise to identify limiting beliefs. Observe your areas of difficulty in life. If you have recurring financial problems, what are your beliefs about money? If your relationships always end the same way, what do you believe about love and being loved? If you live stressed and overwhelmed, what do you believe about rest and your own worth? These questions reveal the programs running in your subconscious mind. And once you identify these beliefs, you can begin consciously dismantling them. You can ask, where did this belief come from? Is it really mine, or was it implanted by someone else? Does this belief serve me or limit me? I release all beliefs that no longer serve me and embrace a new truth about who I am. Transformation happens when you consciously replace old beliefs with new ones that support and elevate you. This isn't superficial positive thinking, it's deep reprogramming. You can use daily affirmations. You can write your new beliefs and read them aloud. You can visualize yourself living according to these new truths. Louise Hay always emphasized the importance of repetition and consistency. Just as limiting beliefs were formed through repetition, empowering new beliefs also need to be reinforced until they become your new automatic reality. You have the power to rewrite your life's narrative, to choose to believe in possibilities instead of limitations. And when you do this, the entire universe conspires to support your new vision. But there's something even deeper that needs to be addressed for this transformation to be complete. Asterisk, asterisk, the cruel inner voice, asterisk, asterisk, the voice that speaks inside your head has immense power over how you feel and how you live your life. For many people, this inner voice is cruel, critical, and relentless. It points out every flaw, every imperfection, every mistake as if it were a catastrophe. Louise Hay called this negative self-talk and dedicated much of her work to teaching us how to transform this critical voice into a voice of love and support. You probably would never speak to a dear friend the way you speak to yourself. You wouldn't tell her she's stupid, ugly, incompetent, or unworthy of love. So why do you allow this cruel voice to dominate your mind? This constant self-criticism doesn't motivate you to improve. It paralyzes you and keeps you trapped in a cycle of shame and inadequacy. According to Louise Hay, self-criticism usually has roots in childhood. Maybe you grew up hearing constant criticism from parents, teachers, or peers. Maybe you learned that love and approval were conditional, dependent on you being perfect, not making mistakes, meeting others' expectations. That inner child still lives inside you, and she still believes she needs to be perfect to be loved. But here's the liberating truth. You're worthy of love simply by existing, not because of what you do or don't do. Your essence, your true being, is pure and valuable regardless of any achievement or failure. I love and approve of myself exactly as I am in this moment. This affirmation, repeated with sincerity, can begin to dissolve years of self. Think of David, a successful executive who, despite all his professional achievements, lived tormented by an inner voice that said he was never good enough. He worked to exhaustion, sacrificed his health and relationships, but never felt satisfied. When he began practicing Louise Hay's mirror exercise, looking into his own eyes and saying, "I love you, David, I really love you," he initially felt intense discomfort and even tears. But with daily practice, something began to change. He realized the critical voice was just an echo of his demanding father, who was never satisfied. It wasn't his true voice. He began cultivating a new inner voice, a voice of compassion, encouragement, and acceptance. And his life transformed not just internally, but externally as well. Louise Hay taught us that the way you speak to yourself directly affects your physical health, your relationships, and your ability to manifest your dreams. When you're constantly criticizing yourself, your body responds with stress, your immune system weakens, and you attract situations that confirm your low self-esteem. On the other hand, when you cultivate inner kindness, when you treat yourself with the same compassion you would offer someone you love, you strengthen your well-being on all levels. You become more resilient, more creative, more open to receiving love and abundance. I speak to myself with love, kindness, and respect. Notice how you feel when you repeat this, and commit to making this your new way of relating to yourself. Cultivating inner kindness is a daily practice, not a destination you reach once and you're done. Every time you notice the critical voice arising, pause and ask, would I speak this way to someone I love? If the answer is no, reframe the thought with compassion. Instead of "I'm so stupid," try "I made a mistake and that's part of human learning." Instead of "I'll never succeed," try "This is challenging, but I'm learning and growing." Louise Hay always reminded us that we're all works in progress, and that the journey of self-discovery and self-healing is meant to be done with patience and love. You deserve your own kindness, your own compassion, your own unconditional support, and when you give yourself that, you discover an inner power that was always there, waiting to be recognized. But there are still more layers to this release journey that need to be explored. Asterisk, asterisk, when fear paralyzes. Asterisk, asterisk, fear and anxiety are signs that you're trying to control the future or you're stuck in the past. Instead of being present in the current moment, Louise Hay always taught us that life is a constant flow, and when we try to resist this natural flow, we create unnecessary suffering. Anxiety arises when you project catastrophic scenarios into the future, when your mind creates stories about everything that could go wrong. Fear paralyzes you, prevents you from taking steps toward your dreams, keeps you trapped in a comfort zone that actually isn't comfortable, it's just familiar. But here's the truth, most of the things you fear never happen, and even when challenges arise, you have much greater internal resources than you imagine to deal with them. According to Louise Hay, fear is often an illusion created by the mind to protect you, but which ends up imprisoning you. When you were a child and experienced pain, rejection, or danger, your mind created defense mechanisms to prevent you from going through that again. These mechanisms were useful at that moment, but now, as an adult, they limit you. You might fear being vulnerable because you were hurt in the past. You might fear failing because you were ridiculed when you tried something new. You might have anxiety about money because you grew up in scarcity. These fears aren't who you are. They're just learned patterns that can be unlearned. I trust in life's process and know that I am safe. Allow yourself to breathe deeply and feel the truth of these words resonating in your body. Think of Rachel, a young woman who lived with constant anxiety about the future. She couldn't enjoy the present because she was always worried about what might happen tomorrow, next week, next year. This anxiety prevented her from sleeping well, from genuinely connecting with the people around her, and from making important decisions. When she discovered Louise Hay's work, Rachel learned the practice of bringing herself back to the present moment. Whenever anxiety arose, she asked herself, in this exact moment, right now, am I safe? Do I have what I need? The answer was always yes. She began to realize that anxiety lived in the imaginary future, not in present reality. With daily practices of presence and affirmations like I am safe here and now, Rachel began experiencing a peace she hadn't known in years. Louise Hay taught us that embracing life's flow means trusting that the universe is conspiring in your favor, even when you can't see the complete picture. It means letting go of the need to know exactly how everything will unfold and having faith that you're being guided. This doesn't mean being passive or not making plans. It means doing your part and then trusting the process. When you let go of the need to control every detail, when you release resistance and fear, you allow life to surprise you in wonderful ways. Opportunities you could never have planned appear. The right people enter your life at the right time. Solutions emerge from unexpected places. I release all fear and anxiety and embrace life's natural flow with confidence. Repeat this whenever you feel the tension of control dominating you. The practice of embracing the flow also involves accepting that not everything will turn out as you planned, and that this isn't a catastrophe, it's simply life happening. Sometimes what seems like a detour or obstacle is actually a redirection to something better. Louise Hay lived this in her own life, facing immense challenges that led her to discover her purpose and message. She taught us that we can choose to see every experience as an opportunity for growth and learning. When you stop fighting against what is and begin flowing with life, you discover a lightness and joy that were always available, but that you couldn't access while you were tense and resisting. You deserve this lightness. You deserve to live without the constant weight of fear and anxiety. And there are specific practices that can help you release these patterns once and for all. But first we need to understand another important layer. The void. You feel addictions and compulsive behaviors aren't signs of weakness or lack of willpower. They're desperate attempts to fill an emotional void or escape from pain that seems unbearable. Louise Hay always taught us that behind every addiction exists a wounded inner child who's asking for love, attention, and healing. It could be an addiction to substances, food, work, toxic relationships, shopping, technology, or any behavior you use to numb yourself or distract yourself from uncomfortable feelings. These patterns didn't arise from nowhere. They were developed as survival mechanisms at some point in your life. And although they may have helped you cope with difficult situations in the past, now they're preventing you from living fully and experiencing true joy and freedom. According to Louise Hay, healing from addictions begins with compassion, not judgment. When you criticize yourself for having an addiction or compulsive behavior, you only add more shame and pain to what you're already feeling, which perpetuates the cycle. Instead, you need to look at yourself with the eyes of love and ask, what is this part of me trying to tell me? What unmet need is behind this behavior? Maybe you're trying to fill a void of love you didn't receive in childhood. Maybe you're running from painful memories or feelings of inadequacy. Maybe you're trying to control something in your life because so many other things seem out of control. I love and accept myself completely, and I nurture my inner child with kindness and compassion. This affirmation is a powerful starting point for healing. Think of Thomas, a man who struggled with alcohol addiction for years. He tried to stop countless times through sheer willpower, but always relapsed. When he discovered Louise Hay's work and began exploring his inner child, he realized he started drinking in adolescence to deal with the pain of feeling invisible and unloved by his parents. Alcohol was his way of numbing that deep pain. Through inner child healing practices, Thomas began giving himself the love and attention he never received. He visualized his teenage self and said, "I see you, I hear you, you matter, and I love you." He began identifying the emotional triggers that led him to drink and responding to them with self-care instead of self-destruction. Gradually, the need to drink diminished because the underlying wound was being healed. Louise Hay taught us specific practices to nurture the inner child. One of them is to have a photo of yourself as a child and speak to that child daily, offering the love, encouragement, and security she needed. You can say, "I'm here for you now. You're not alone anymore. I will protect you and love you unconditionally." Another practice is to identify the emotional needs you're trying to fill through addiction and find healthy ways to meet those needs. If you're seeking comfort, you can create self-care rituals like relaxing baths, hugging yourself, or time in nature. If you're seeking connection, you can cultivate authentic and vulnerable relationships. I meet my emotional needs in healthy and loving ways. You have the power to become the loving parent that your inner child always needed. The journey of breaking addictions isn't linear, and there will be difficult moments. Louise Hay always reminded us to be gentle with ourselves during this process. If you have a relapse, don't use it as proof that you're weak or hopeless. Use it as an opportunity to learn more about your triggers and what your inner child needs. Every step toward healing, however small, deserves to be celebrated. You're undoing patterns that may have existed for decades, And this requires patience, persistence, and lots of self. When you heal the wounded inner child, when you fill the emotional void with genuine love, addictions naturally lose their power over you. You no longer need to run from pain because you're learning to embrace it and transform it. But there's still a deeper understanding about why we hold on to things that don't serve us. Asterisk, asterisk, the illusion of safety, asterisk, asterisk. There's a part of you that believes that if you can control everything around you, you'll be safe and protected from any pain or disappointment. This need for control can manifest in many ways. Micromanaging every detail of your life, trying to control other people's behavior, obsessively planning every step of the future, or resisting changes even when they're necessary. Louise Hay taught us that this need for control is actually an illusion, an attempt to create security in a world that's naturally uncertain and constantly changing. And the more you try to control, the more anxious, frustrated, and exhausted you become. Because the truth is, you never had control over most things, and you never will. According to Louise Hay, the need for control usually arises from past experiences where you felt powerless, vulnerable, or out of control. Maybe you lived through traumatic situations in childhood where you had no power to change what was happening. Maybe you experienced painful losses that made you feel the world is unpredictable and dangerous. In response, your mind developed the belief that if you could control everything, you could prevent bad things from happening again. But this strategy doesn't work because life is inherently uncertain, and trying to control the uncontrollable only keeps you in a constant state of tension and fear. I release the need to control and trust that life is guiding me to my highest good. Breathe deeply and feel the relief that comes from letting go of this impossible weight. Think of Emily, a mother who tried to control every aspect of her children's lives because she was afraid something bad would happen to them. She planned every activity, monitored every friendship, tried to protect them from any possible disappointment or pain. But instead of creating security, she was creating anxiety in them and in herself. Her children felt suffocated and began pulling away from her. When Emily discovered Louise Hay's work, she realized her need for control came from a deep fear of losing those she loved, a fear rooted in losing her own brother when she was young. She began working with the affirmation, "I trust that my children are safe and protected by the universe." Gradually, she learned to let go, to allow them to have their own experiences, and discovered that both she and they became happier and more connected. Louise Hay taught us that true security doesn't come from controlling the external world, but from developing trust in yourself and in life's process. When you trust that you have internal resources to deal with whatever happens, when you believe the universe is working in your favor even when you can't see how, you can relax and allow life to flow. This doesn't mean being irresponsible or passive. It means doing your part and then letting go of attachment to the outcome. It means recognizing that there are things you can influence and things that are beyond your control, and having the wisdom to distinguish between them. I do my part with love and then trust the process, knowing everything is unfolding perfectly. This shift in perspective can completely transform your life experience. The practice of letting go of control is challenging because it requires you to face your deepest fears and develop faith in something greater than yourself. Louise Hay always encouraged us to start with small steps. Choose one area of your life where you're trying to control too much, and practice letting go a little. Observe what happens when you allow things to unfold naturally. You might be surprised to discover that often things work better when you're not trying to force them. You might discover that the people around you are more capable than you thought. You might experience a lightness and peace you haven't known in years. Letting go of control isn't giving up, it's choosing freedom over fear. It's choosing trust over resistance. And when you make this choice, you open space for miracles to happen in your life. Now, with everything we've explored so far, it's time to look forward and create something completely new. Rewriting everything. You don't have to keep living the same story you've been telling about yourself and your life. Louise Hay always reminded us that every moment is a new opportunity to choose different thoughts, to create a different narrative, to write a new chapter. The story you've been telling might be one of limitation, pain, scarcity, or victimization, but that's not the only possible story. You have the power to create a new story, a story of joy, abundance, love, and infinite possibilities. This isn't fantasy or superficial positive thinking. It's recognizing that you're the author of your life and that you can consciously choose what you want to create from now on. According to Louise Hay, creating a new story begins with clarity about what you truly desire, not what others expect of you, not what you think you should want, but what your heart truly longs for. When was the last time you allowed yourself to dream without limitations, without the critical voice saying it's impossible or that you don't deserve it? Close your eyes for a moment and imagine your ideal life. How do you feel when you wake up every day? What are your relationships like? What's your health like? How do you spend your time? What kind of contribution are you making in the world? Allow yourself to feel the emotion of this vision as if it were already real. I create a life of joy, love, and abundance, and I deserve all the good things the universe has to offer me. This affirmation, when repeated with genuine feeling, begins reprogramming your subconscious mind to attract and create this reality. Think of Maria, a woman who spent most of her life believing she didn't deserve to be happy. She had a job she hated, a relationship that drained her, and fragile health. Her story was one of sacrifice, difficulty, and resignation. When she discovered Louise Hay, something inside her awakened. She began questioning, what if I could have a different life? What if I deserved joy? She began writing her new story, describing in detail the life she wanted to create. She wrote about waking up with energy and enthusiasm, about working at something she loved, about relationships that nourished her, about a healthy and vibrant body. At first, it seemed like just an imagination exercise, but something extraordinary began happening. Opportunities arose. She had the courage to make changes that previously seemed impossible. And gradually her external life began reflecting the internal story she was creating. Louise Hay taught us that creating a new story isn't just visualizing, it's also taking actions aligned with that vision. It's making daily choices that reflect who you're becoming, not who you were in the past. If your new story includes vibrant health, you begin caring for your body with love today. If it includes financial abundance, you begin treating the money you have now with gratitude and wisdom. If it includes loving relationships, you begin relating to yourself and others more lovingly now. Every small action is a vote of confidence in your new story. I take daily actions aligned with the life I'm creating, knowing each step brings me closer to my dreams. You don't need to know the whole path. You just need to take the next step with faith and courage. The journey of creating a new story also involves letting go of the old identity. You may have identified as a victim, as someone who always struggles, as someone who doesn't have luck or isn't loved. These identities were formed by past experiences, but they don't define who you are or who you can become. Louise Hay encouraged us to see ourselves as beings in constant evolution, always capable of growth and transformation. When you let go of the old identity and embrace a new one, You might feel discomfort or even resistance from people around you who are used to the old version of you. But that's part of the process. You're reclaiming your power to create your own reality, and that's the most precious gift you can give yourself. Your new story is waiting to be lived, and it all begins with the conscious decision that you deserve joy, love, and abundance. And to make this transformation even more tangible, there's a special practice I want to share with you soon, something that will help you anchor all this in your daily life. Asterisk, asterisk, your renewal ritual, asterisk, asterisk. This is a powerful exercise that combines therapeutic writing, emotional release, and conscious creation of your new reality. You'll need paper, a pen, a candle if possible, and about 20 minutes of quiet time. Part 1. Release 10 minutes. Light the candle and breathe deeply 3 times. Now, take your paper and pen and write a letter to everything you're ready to release. Begin with, I am ready to release, and then let it flow without censorship. Write about the resentments you're letting go, the fears you're releasing, the limiting beliefs that no longer serve you, the control patterns you're abandoning. Don't worry about grammar or structure. Just let the words flow from your heart to the paper. Allow yourself to feel whatever emotions arise, whether tears, anger, or relief. When you finish, read the letter aloud to yourself, acknowledging everything you've carried and are now choosing to let go. Part 2. Renewal. 10 minutes now. Take a new sheet of paper. This is the moment to write your new story. Begin with, I choose to create, and describe the life you want to live, using the present tense as if it were already real. Write about how you feel when you wake up every day, about the loving relationships in your life, about your vibrant health, about the abundance flowing to you, about the joy permeating your daily life. Be specific and allow yourself to dream without limitations. Include powerful affirmations like, I am worthy of love and joy, and I deserve all the good things in life. When you finish, read this letter aloud with conviction and emotion, feeling each word resonate in your body. Part 3. Anchoring. Take the first letter of release and, safely, tear it into small pieces or burn it carefully, symbolizing that you're truly letting go of the past. As you do this, say, I release all of this with love and gratitude for what it taught me. Take the second letter of renewal and place it in a special place where you can read it daily, preferably in the morning when you wake up. For the next 21 days, read this letter every day, allowing your new story to take deep root in your consciousness. This exercise is a tangible way to practice everything Louise Hay taught us about letting go of the past and consciously creating the future. Do it with love, kindness, and the certainty that you have the power to transform your life. Asterisk, asterisk, you are capable, asterisk, asterisk. You took an immense step today by opening your heart to these transformative truths. Remember that the journey of letting go, forgiving, and creating a new story doesn't happen overnight, and that's perfectly natural. Be gentle with yourself in this process. Celebrate every small progress, and know that every moment of awareness is a victory. Louise Hay always reminded us that we're worthy of love and healing simply by existing, and that includes you, exactly as you are in this moment. Practice the exercise I shared with you. Return to these reflections whenever you need to, and trust that you have within you everything you need to live the extraordinary life you deserve. You are loved, you are capable, and you are exactly where you need to be on your journey. Go with love, go with courage, and allow yourself to flourish.